Hello everyone! Welcome po ulit sa ating Math Easy video tutorials here in our channel. Thank you very much po for subscribing and for sharing our YouTube videos sa mga classmates or for our teachers who always supports our program. Thank you very much. Sa mga hindi pa po nakakapag-subscribe, can you please click the subscribe button and also follow our Facebook page para po lagi tayong updated sa mga susunod na topic sa atin pong math lessons. Okay, so in our lesson for today, we are going to talk about sampling techniques. And in today's video, you will be able to differentiate between a population and a sample. You will also describe and give examples of random, systematic, and convenient sampling techniques. Okay, so without further ado, let's now begin. Okay, first po ay i-review natin yung methods of data collection that we have discussed in our previous video. Kung hindi nyo pa po napapanood, mas maganda po na panoorin nyo muna yung mga lesson natin previously in order for you to understand this clearer. Okay, so methods of data collection po is survey, interview, observation, experimentations, case studies, and focus groups. Ito po yung pinag-aralan natin last time. Now, this time, we will now differentiate kung ano ba yung population and sample po na pag-uusapan natin ngayon. So, let's have these focus questions to understand kung ano po ang difference nila. Okay, imagine we have here a pizza, no? The question is, how to know the overall taste of a pizza? Okay, gagamit po tayo ng illustration ngayon. How do you know the overall taste of a pizza? Okay, do you need to eat the entire pizza to figure that out? Okay, syempre, hindi po You only need to try a single slice to get an idea. So, paano po yon? We get one single slice and then dito po sa slice na ito, nandito na kasi lahat ng mga elements ng buong pizza. Nandiyan na po yung tomato, yung mga ibang ingredients, the cheese, okay? What else? The other ingredients na nandyan. Okay, if you're going to bite this slice, malalaman mo na yung taste ng buong pizza. Okay? You don't need to eat all of this in order for you to understand the flavor. So, this is what we call a sample. In statistics, this is what we call a sample. And this is what we call the population. The entire pizza pie is the population and the slice is what we call the sample. Now, the process of getting the sample from the whole population is now what we call a sampling. Okay? Yun na po yung pag-aaralan natin ngayon. Okay, so let's now move on to the formal definition of population and sample. Alright, the population is the entire group you want to study or know about. Okay, halimbawa, if you want to know the favorite snacks of all the students in your school, in this case, the population is all the students in your school. Lahat na po ng students, no? From all grade levels, yun na po yung tinatawag nating population in statistics. Now, how about sample? Okay, a sample is a smaller group selected from the population to represent it. Okay, example here, instead of asking every single student in the school, you decide to ask just 30 students from different grade levels about their favorite snacks. This group of 30 students is your sample. So, kung meron tayong population, kukuha ka lang ng portion ng population na yun na po yung ating sample. So, in this example, 30 students ang magiging sample mo. They will now represent the whole group. Okay, now how about the formal definition of sampling? Sampling is the process of selecting a smaller group or what we call sample from a larger population in order to gather data and make conclusions about the entire population. Okay, so kukuha lang tayo ng specific number of elements or kung natatandaan nyo yung topic natin doon po sa ating sets na lesson, from the universal set, we will just get a subset. Okay, what is the importance of sampling? Bakit po kailangan ng sampling? Bakit kailangan pa ng sampling kung pwede naman yung buong population? So, let's discuss using a simple explanation and the illustration. Halimbawa po, meron tayong scenario. We want to survey on presidential approval rating. Diba? Ginagawa naman po ito yearly, no? Kung ano po yung nagiging performance ng atin pong president, depende po doon sa survey na kinukuha natin sa mga taong bayan kung ano po ang tingin nila sa performance ng president. Okay, now, if we're going to conduct the survey to all the members of the population, ang magiging challenge po natin dyan is there are over 114 million people in the Philippines. Okay? Ano pa po? It will cost a lot of money, no? And it will take months or even years para ma-survey natin lahat ng tao sa buong Pilipinas. So it will not be practical. Okay, that's why ang advantage po ng sampling is you can save time, no? You can reduce cost. What else? You can make data collection practical. Kasi kukuha ka lang naman ng sample out of the whole population. Kaya ganun po ang ginagawa ng mga survey agencies dito po sa ating bansa if they want to get the survey on presidential approval rating like the Pulse Asia. Ang ginagawa po nila is kumukuha sila ng mga samples. Out of 114 million people, kukuha lang sila ng 2,000 plus na tao and then isu-survey nila kung ano yung approval rate nila sa atin pong president. Usually, ganun po ang ginagawa. Okay, now let's have types of sampling techniques. Okay, paano po natin kinukuha ang sample? We also have what we call techniques para makakuha tayo ng accurate number of samples depende po sa ating goal. Depende po sa atin pong method na gagamitin. So we have here, the first one is what we call simple random sampling. Ano po ito? Every member of the population has an equal chance of being selected. Okay, pag sinabi po kasi nating random, wala po tayong pattern dyan. No? Halimbawa po, if we have here a scenario, okay, a teacher wants to survey students' favorite school subjects. Now, she writes all 40 students' name on slips of paper, mixes them in a box, and randomly picks 5 names. Kung ang gusto niya pong malaman is yung favorite subject ng mga student, ang pwede niyang gawin is just write 40 students' names sa mga papel na yan, ilalagay niya sa box, and mamimili lang siya ng ilan? 5. Okay, 5 pangalan para makita niya yung mga sagot nila. Okay, or yung favorite subject nila. Yun na po yung sample niya to represents the answer of the students. So, bubunot lang po siya doon sa box. Ito po ang tinatawag nating simple random sampling. Okay, ano po ang advantages nito? It reduces bias, no? Hindi niya kailangang bunutin yung favorite niyang student. Wala pong ganon, walang bias. Ensures fair representation, okay? Since random siya, no? Hindi po siya systematic. It relies on equal chances of being selected. Yan po ang kagandahan ng simple random sampling. Alright, next one is a systematic sampling naman po. Pag sinabi nating systematic, it follows a specific order. Hindi na po siya random. Kabaliktaran po ito ng random. So, select every nth member of the population after arranging them in order. This is how they do it, no? Example, librarian wants to check the condition of books in a library. She lists all 1,000 books in order and inspects every 10th book on the list. Ibig sabihin, hindi niya na kailangang isa-isahin yung 1,000 na libro. Ang pwede niya na lang gawin is, ililista niya yung mga pangalan or doon sa catalog, makikita niya yung listahan ng mga libro. And then every 10th book, bubunutin niya yung book and then titignan niya yung condition. After 10th book ulit, bubunot na naman siya ng isa pang book, no? Para makita yung condition ulit ng isang book. It will represent now the 1,000 books in the library. Okay? So, pwede pong ganon. Ililista niya lahat or doon po sa kanyang catalog, makikita niya yung mga listahan ng mga libro. And that is what we call systematic sampling. Ano naman po ang advantages nito? It is easy to implement. Okay, what else? It works well for large populations. No? That is the systematic sampling. Alright, the third technique here is what we call the stratified sampling. Okay? Here, i-divide po natin yung population into subgroups or yung tinatawag nating strata based on a characteristics and then sample from each subgroup. Example po natin, ano? Kung meron tayong population, i-divide natin siya pwede sa 4 and then out of those 4 groups, mamimili tayo ng sample. Okay? So, pwedeng isa sa isang grupo, randomly, no? Mamimili tayo randomly from each group. Okay, example po, a school wants to survey students' favorite extracurricular activities. The population is divided into grade levels. Pwedeng i-divide natin yung mga students into grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, and grade 10. Now, out of those 4 groups, mamimili ng 10 students randomly. Okay, pwedeng gamitin ulit yung simple random technique. Pwedeng bunutan out of those 4 groups, tapos mamimili ka na ng 10 students. All in all, magiging 40 ang magiging sample mo from these subcategories or strata. Now, ano po ang advantages? We have here, it ensures all subgroups are represented. What else? Useful for populations with diverse characteristics. Katulad po ng ganitong groupings na nag-group po siya into grade level. Grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, at saka grade 10. Meaning, well-represented yung bawat grade level. Hindi lang from grade 9, hindi lang from grade 10. Sa lahat ng grade level, meron at merong representation or representative. Okay, next technique is what we call the cluster sampling. Okay? Ano po itong cluster sampling? Here, it divide the population into clusters or groups, no? Groups na naman po, katulad doon sa stratified sampling. However, dito, it randomly select the entire clusters to study. Let's have an example. A researcher wants to study the eating habits of students in a large district. Schools are treated as clusters, and 5 schools are randomly chosen. All students in the selected schools are surveyed, no? Ibig sabihin, dito po sa isang district, mamimili ng 5 school. Paano po yung pagpili ng school? It will be random, no? At sa 5 schools na yon, lahat ng students doon ay mapipili to represent each group. Halimbawa, sa isang district, baka meron pong 30, let's say 30 schools, no? Madami na po yun. Let's say there are 30 schools. Now, mamimili lang ng 5 using a random technique. And then, after nakapili na tayo ng 5 schools dito sa cluster sampling, lahat na po ng students sa bawat school ay kasama na sa survey. Hindi na mag-random ulit. So, advantage nito, it saves time and resources, especially for geographically spread populations. Okay, the last technique that I'm going to discuss with you today is the convenience sampling technique. Okay, paano po ito? Here, select members of the population who are easiest to reach. Okay, kaya po yan tinawag na convenience kasi nga po madali. No? Kung ano po yung madaling part ng population, sila na po yung magiging sample natin. Okay? Example po ay kung meron tayong teacher wants feedback on a new classroom activity. She asked the first 5 students she sees during the lunch break for their opinions. No? Instead of getting the opinion of all the students or instead of writing the names of the students tapos magbubunot siya, hindi na. Kung sino na po yung una niyang makita, sila na po yung pwede niyang tanungin. Yun na po yung magiging samples niya. Okay? So, ganun po ang convenience sampling. Ano po yung advantages nito? It's quick and simple. It requires minimal effort, no? Pero ano po yung magiging disadvantage nito? Pwedeng hindi accurate yung magiging data niya. Pwedeng yung na-timingan niya ng mga students ay hindi sila makapagbigay ng tamang opinion or tamang sagot. Okay, to practice your understanding, let's have this exercise. For each scenario provided, choose the most appropriate sampling technique to be employed. Select from the following options. Number 1, a school board wants to analyze the academic performance of students across different regions. They randomly select 5 regions and include all schools in those regions in their study. Okay, so ano po ang pinag-uusapan nila dito? Kailangan nilang makuha yung data about academic performance ng mga students. Anong mga students? Across different regions. So, madami po ang kailangan nila, different regions. Yun nga lang, ang ginawa nila is they just get randomly 5 regions and include all schools in those regions in their studies. So, kumuha ng 5 regions out of the different regions. Tapos, lahat na po ng schools doon sa 5 regions na yon ay ginamit nila as sample. Ano po ito? Okay, this is the cluster sampling technique. Okay, number 2, a teacher wants to know her students' favorite snacks. She writes all their names on pieces of paper, puts them in a box, and draws 5 names randomly. So, bunutan lang po ito. So, nandyan na po yung ating clue, randomly. Ibig sabihin, symbol random sampling lang po ang ginamit. Okay, number 3, a researcher wants to check the current condition of houses in a housing project area. He creates a list of all residents and inspect every 15 houses on the list. Okay? So, meron po siya ditong ginawang system, no? Nag-i-inspect po siya every 15 houses para hindi lahat ng bahay ay kailangan niyang puntahan. Therefore, this is systematic sampling. Okay. Next, number 4. A marketing team wants to get feedback about a new product. They interview the first 10 customers they meet at the mall entrance. So, kung sino po yung mamimit nila na tao, yun na po yung magiging sample nila. Therefore, this is convenience sampling kasi it is easier on their part to just choose kung sino po yung mamimit nila sa entrance ng mall. Okay, number 5, a school principal wants to survey students' opinions about a new lunch menu. She divides students into groups based on grade level. Okay, and then selects 10 students randomly from each grade. So ano po ito? It is stratified sampling. Kasi dinivide niya muna into group, saka po siya nag-random selection. Okay, this time, let's try to answer this activity so that you can practice more. You just write true if the statement is correct and then false if it is incorrect. Number 1, simple random sampling ensures that every individual in the population has an equal chance of being selected. The answer is true. Okay, equal chance po sila. Okay. Next, in systematic sampling, individuals are selected at random from a population without any specific interval or order. Ito po ay mali. Okay? Kasi ang systematic, kaya siya tinawag na systematic kasi meron siyang specific na order or interval. Number 3, stratified sampling involves dividing the population into subgroups or strata and then randomly selecting individuals from each group. Ito po ay true. Okay? Dinidivide muna into groups, saka po tayo magra-random selection. Number 4, cluster sampling involves dividing the population into clusters and then randomly selecting the entire clusters to include in the sample. Ito po ay true, no? Kasi by clusters, pwede tayong mag-random selection para makuha natin yung buong cluster, no? At sa cluster na yon, hindi na po kailangang mag-random selection. Lahat na po ng members sa isang group or cluster kasama na po sa sample. Number 5, convenience sampling requires dividing the population into strata and selecting individuals randomly from each stratum. Ito po ay false. Convenience sampling is the easiest way to get the sample. Number 6, in systematic sampling, individuals are selected at regular intervals from a randomly chosen starting point. This is true. Number 7, cluster sampling is often used when it is impractical to collect data from the entire population due to geographical spread. Ito po ay true, no? Kasi ang cluster sampling, mamimili ka lang po ng mga groups out of the entire population. Hindi mo kailangang kunin lahat ng population. Number 8, simple random sampling is the most efficient method when the population is large and dispersed. Ito po ay false. Kasi po, sa buong population, mahirap na po yung bubunot ka ng pangalan kasi ang dami-dami na pong mga pangalan na kailangan mong i-consider. So you have to use system para po magawa itong sampling sa mga malalaking population. Number 9, convenience sampling is the easiest and fastest method to implement but may introduce bias in the sample. This is true. Bakit po? Since convenience sampling ito, kung sino lang po yung available as part of the sample, sila na po yung sasagot. Like for example po, kanina doon sa mall, kung ang research po natin, gusto nating makuha yung data ng mga opinions ng mga tao na pumupunta sa mall, okay, at ang napili nating sample is yung hindi naman talaga mall goers, pwedeng yung mga sagot nila ay makakaapekto sa ating data. Number 10, stratified sampling is especially useful when there are significant differences between subgroups in the population that need representation in the sample. This is true. Dito po kasi sa stratified sampling, unlike cluster sampling, ang stratified sampling, lahat po ng group sa population ay kasama doon po sa ating magiging sample. Out of all those groupings ay magkakaroon na po ulit ng random sampling sa mga members. Kaya, well represented po lahat ng groups kahit na magkakaiba po sila ng characteristics. Okay, to finally apply our understanding and learnings dito po sa ating discussion, we have here an activity, last activity for you. You can pause this video to identify kung ano po yung most appropriate na sampling technique for the following scenarios, no? Bigyan ko po kayo ng time. You can pause this video, you can answer this on your paper, and then you can come back later to check the answers. Okay, I hope you are now ready. In number 1, we have here a health worker wants to monitor a hospital ward's patient satisfaction. She selects every 4th patient on the list of admitted patients for the day. Ano po ang sagot dito? It's systematic sampling. Next, a researcher wants to understand household electricity usage in a city. She randomly selects 5 barangays and surveys every household in those barangays. Ano po ang sagot? It's cluster sampling. Next, a university wants to know the favorite campus hangout spots. They randomly selects 50 students from the entire student population. Ang sagot po natin dito ay simple random technique. Next one, a sports committee wants to evaluate the physical fitness of students. They divide the students into groups based on gender and selects 15 boys and 15 girls at random. So, ito po ay stratified. Number 5, a social worker wants to understand how community members feel about a new housing program. She interviews families that live closest to her office. So, pinakamalapit. Ibig sabihin, this is just convenience sampling. Okay? So, I hope nakuha nyo po ito lahat ng tama. Okay? Kung meron pa pong hindi nakakuha ng tama, you can always go back to our discussions para po mas maintindihan po natin yung ating lesson. Okay? So, thank you again for listening. I hope you learned something for today and I hope to see you again on the next video. God bless in your studies. See you and bye-bye. Kung meron kang natutunan sa video na ito, please click the subscribe button to support this channel para mas matulungan ulit kita sa mga susunod mo pang math lessons. Lagi mong tatandaan, ang math ay para sa lahat. At ako si Teacher Van, nagsasabing dito sa Math Isip, lamang ang nag-iisip. God bless and see you on the next video. Bye-bye.